the $70,000 Cleveland Open today on the Pro Bowlers Tour. Now we're in the championship match. It's about to begin. On the left, that is Earl Anthony, tremendous champion, 30 PBA titles against Cliff McNealy, who hopes to get his first here today. Well, they had a powerful match with 10 strikes, 258 to 246 in ousting Joe Hutchison, who had won the first 2 games.
And Earl Anthony, the tournament leader, is making Cliff McNealy start first. Earl wants to finish on the left-hand lane. The deep inside line, Cliff McNealy.
Leaving a 10-pin on the left lane.
And believe it or not, Cliff McNealy is almost into what we call the 5th arrow. There's 7 arrows on the lanes starting from the right-hand channel, Chris. He almost hit the 5th arrow to compensate for that big hook. Unbelievable. I've never seen the players play this deep in the last 7 or 8 years. Just a great tribute to how versatile these great pros are. Earl Anthony also will be playing a deep inside line for a left hand. Or the spare.
All right, spare for McNealy, and now today in competition, the great champion Earl Anthony, looking really fit. Shooting on the right lane first. This left-hander, Buckeye carefully positions himself on the approach.
He seems unusually calm today, Chris. He says he's going to be aggressive, but he looks awful confident. Really, really confident.
Methodically into the pocket from the left side, and it's a strike. Let's see the profile of that last action.
And here's the style of one of the greatest bowlers that ever stepped on a lane. Earl Anthony, 5-step delivery, medium backswing, solid shoulders, hand right behind the ball. Nice and smooth. He's playing further inside than I've ever seen Earl playing. He's playing almost between the 3rd and 4th arrows himself. Look at, he's standing over where you normally see the right-hander staying.
Mm-hmm. So it's a big double for Earl Anthony. And you know, Bo, there's a golfer that is a great athlete that I'm sure when he sees Earl bowl reminds him of himself, and that's Julius Boros.
You can bet you.
Mr. Cools.
Earl is smooth just like Julius. Cliff McNealy, not eligible for the Firestone. Earl Anthony, the last tournament winner, the leader to win, was at the Firestone last year. So a lot of things riding on this match. Cliff McNealy has a new baby coming pretty soon. I know he'd like to win this one.
Spare working, second frame.
And you talk about power from that deep inside line. The ability to drive the pins out that hard is a great tribute to Cliff McNealy, although he paid the price for it there, chopping the 5 straight back off the 8. Tremendous power. And for the first time this year, the tournament leader has a definite edge in the first couple of frames, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we see him struggling as we go into the first commercial, but this time Cliff McNealy is going to have a deficit, and Anthony will have the lead.
Now the 8-pin. All right, 2 spares for McNealy, who won the last game 258 to 246 over Joe Hutchison. Thus far, Bo, we've averaged 242.5 in our matches, both bowlers in each game.
That's tremendous for 6 games. We did not expect that type of scoring today. The tournament itself was not a high-scoring tournament. It only took a 212 average to make the top 24. And there were only 6 300s.
Extremely high hit, leaving the 6-pin on the left lane.
Just lost that shot on the left side of the lane. Almost got a break. On this lane, the first frame he left a solid 10, and then he left a solid 8 in his second frame, and almost got a great break, tripping the 6 out, but it all works out. So far, he's going to have 3 spares, and could have had 2 strikes in a split, would have been worse. Earl Anthony has the lead the first time.
All right, and Earl Anthony is always anxious to get up on the approach and bowl.
Chris, he's so calm. I know Earl so many years. He's just so methodical today. Some days you just have days where you feel like you're super confident. I think Earl wants to prove that he can win from all angles, too. You very seldom see a left-hander play down the middle. Left-handers are a bit chastised because they have that outside line, but Earl can do it all.
high hit, and oh my goodness, we've got the 6, the 7, the 8, and the 10.
The 4, 7, 9, 10 for the righty, the 6, 7, 8. What is it, Palmer? 6, 7, 8, 10 for the lefties. We don't see that very often.
11-2 for the professionals.
Well, I think it's a little less for this man. He's studying it, looking like a putt almost. You notice how he's looking down the lane. Earl's confident in everything he does.
All right, after a double, an open frame.
Come on.
127 through the 6th with a strike up. 7-pin lead by McNeely over Earl Anthony, who has a double, as we look at the commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Joe Antonora from Akron.
Earl taking a little extra time. This is the lane he made the mistake on. Left the 6, 7, 8, 10. And he can now take the lead. He trails by 7.
And leaving the 4, 6.
And once again, Earl Anthony is paying the maximum penalty for an errant shot. He let the ball hook a little too much. He's a little bit disgusted. Leaves a 4, 6, opens the door wide open. As you recall, last week in Detroit, Chris, Earl Anthony got 2 splits on the left-hand lane that cost him the match. And he is really kicking it in himself. Right now, Earl Anthony has let Cliff McNealy take a 21-pin lead, sitting on the bench.
From 7 to 21 pins. And, of course, Cliff McNealy looking for his first win, and as a result of a victory, a berth in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Now, Anthony shooting in this 8th frame.
Has to settle down. Usually after one mistake, they usually come together.
Like that. And up is McNeely. Strike working. He'll be shooting in the 8th.
And he really has a chance to put it on Earl Anthony. As we see, Earl is having trouble putting the strings together. Cliff McNealy coming up in the 8th frame on his best lane, the right-hand lane. He's been consistent on that lane all day. Can take a 31-pin lead with just 2 frames remaining.
A double. Big one. Leading by 31 pins here in that final match.
And as you can pick it out, it's like Tommy Hudson did last week. The tremendous power of this young player is taking over. Here's a hit that hardly anybody else could carry on a light from that deep inside angle. Watch the 5-pin. See you later, and look at that arm. He is really happy now. He can almost lock it up with a strike here. He will force Earl Anthony to strike out to have any chance if McNealy can get another strike here.
6 feet 3 inches tall, 170 pounds. It's 2-4-5.
A little wide, but it's better than hitting the nose. In that situation before, Cliff McNealy has always had a little trouble. Here's the ball, just slides by. A little slick out in that area when you throw it a little wide. They're pointing down the center. The 2-4-5, a spear we haven't seen today, and Cliff McNealy's going to have to guess a little bit how to make it.
McNealy is sparing the 9th. Now Anthony with a strike in the 8th, shooting in the 9th frame.
Chris, if Earl Anthony wants to win this tournament, he has to, well, we know he wants to, if he needs this hit. He cannot win if he does not strike here in the 9th frame. He needs to strike in the 9th or 10th and 10th frame to have any chance. Earl currently going at a 186 pace. If he spares strikes, he has a possible 216. He's still in it.
3rd double of the match, opened with a pair. Then in the 5th and 6th frames, and now here.
The situation is this. By no means can Earl Anthony shut out McNealy, but he can cut the lead. Earl has a possible 216. And here's Earl Anthony's reaction, not the usual complacent attitude that he has. He's out there to win. He needs this strike.
And the Jack Nicklaus of bowling leaves the 6-pin.
And Chris, once again, all we have to, as the tournament leader, is going to make go 0 for 8. All McNeely has to do is get up there and keep the ball in play. He knows he's got victory in his hand. He has to stay behind the foul line, barring any radical thing. We have another new winner on the tour. Earl Anthony, best he can roll is 195. Cliff McNealy just has to show up. $8,000 and another new champion. Earl just going through the paces. I know he's disappointed. He bowled so well all week. 195. Cliff McNealy, just stay in the building, partner, and they'll see you at the Firestone.
So Cliff McNealy, 26-year-old from San Lorenzo, California, has reached one goal in his life, to win a tournament. Will have his final score as Anthony has already completed his play, shooting a 195, so $8,000 richer will be Cliff McNealy.